What's up, guys? Today we're going to be working on dumbbell bench. Dumbbell bench is a horizontal pressing pattern for us. Pressing patterns and pulling patterns are very similar. They're basically like the reciprocal of each other. We're moving through a very similar pattern in both of them, keeping the elbow at somewhere between about a 30 and 60 degree angle. Everybody's going to be a little different here just based off of shoulder stability, thoracic extension, scapular mobility, things like that. We almost never, I don't like using the word never, but almost never in pressing and pulling patterns want to get to a true 90 degree angle, as well as really pinning that elbow against the body. And that has to do with our shoulder blade and our scapular retraction and protraction. When I pin that elbow against the body, that shoulder blade tends to stay protracted, shoulder dumps forward, and it puts a lot of pressure on the anterior portion or the front portion of the shoulder, as well as when we get straight out to the side, it puts a large amount of stress across that shoulder joint. So we just want to keep our arm in a position that allows for the most natural movement and natural stability at that shoulder. And that tends to be somewhere within this area here. When teaching dumbbell bench, setup is super important. So before we even touch the weight, we're gonna go through our setup. All right, so I always have my athletes start on their back. If they can get assistance and somebody handing the weight to them, that is by far the best way to set up. So we're gonna start with our feet. A lot of people like to tuck the feet back and drive through the toes. I prefer flat feet, driving through the heels, almost like we're trying to lift the butt off the bench, but we do not want the butt to lift. So we're engaging glutes. We're going to engage our upper back. And the best explanation would be like if you were wearing jeans and you had butt pockets in the jeans, taking your right shoulder blade and tucking it into the butt pocket on your left side, and your left shoulder blade tucking it into the right butt pocket on your right side here. All right, so we're gonna try and mimic that on the bench. All right, so feet planted, tucking right shoulder blade into left butt pocket, left shoulder blade into right butt pocket. And we're gonna keep those shoulder blades pinned back the entire time because it gives us a really strong base to move from. This is one of those upper body press and pull drills that we actually don't want shoulder or scapula retraction and protraction. We want them retracted, and we want them making a very strong base for our arm. Because we're gonna be handling a large amount of weight, anytime we get shoulder movement, it's gonna decrease the stability of that movement. So in this specific movement, we don't want too much retraction, protraction. All right, so from there, you'd be handed the weight, and we would just go through our bench press. Down, back up. I like to keep the hands more neutral versus pronation, right? A lot of times we'll get those elbows way out to the side if we go, palms up. If, however, you're benching on your own, you don't have anybody to hand your weight, in order to get them up a couple of different ways, I'll show you the way that I prefer. Again, everybody, little different here. Make sure you're doing it safely, all right? So I like to kick them up first, and then we're going back. Planting the feet, tucking the shoulder blades. It's a little harder to get packed here. It takes a lot more practice. Down, pausing at your range of motion. Some athletes have a little bit extra, some athletes have a little bit less. Drive back up. Make sure that we're driving our body down and away from the weight, not reaching the weight up towards the ceiling, because you'll see my shoulders start to reach too far forward. We've unpacked those shoulder blades. So down, up, staying nice and tight the entire way through.